845-1100 is the number to call. We've got full phone lines, so let's go right to the callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, hey, good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
Wondering if you know anything about that explosion that happened last night around 9:30 at like 65th in Indianapolis.
No. Let me just take a look while we're talking. Tell listeners what you're talking about, and let's see if we can find something. I'm going to check Region News Source. Region News is usually usually one of the best sources for news in Northwest Indiana. So I'm going to see if they have anything. And
Yeah, it was.
if Paul Goddard's listening, Paul, let me know because Paul is usually on top of everything. So I don't see anything about an explosion last night. You say about 165th in Indianapolis and Hammond?
Yeah, somewhere around there. And we heard it was. It sounded like there was an accident outside the house, and so we went out to check things out. Three or four of our neighbors actually came out to check things out too. So I live just a few blocks east of Kennedy, and we heard it. So I had not heard anything. I didn't see anything on the internet or anything. I was just wondering if you heard anything about it.
No, I haven't heard a thing about it. So again, if there's a caller out there, or Paul, obviously Paul Goddard, Region News Source, usually on top of everything like that. If they know, we'll have them call in. Keep tuned in, and as soon as we find out, we'll let you know.
Thank you. Have a good one.
845-1100 is the number to call, and we've got more callers. So good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Tom. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. I think when you guys went to break, somebody messed with the volume. You can barely hear you guys on hold or when somebody was talking a minute ago.
All right. So you can hear us now?
I hear you when I'm talking live, but when I was on hold, it was very low again, worse than before they fixed it.
Okay. All right. So
is it everybody or is it just the phone line?
It was everybody. It was even the like when I was on listening on air, like during your commercial, it went real low too.
Okay. All right. So we're going to adjust the volumes. Continue. I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
You were talking about taxes and everything in Illinois. Indiana also is taking a $20 tax increase across the board on every single carton of cigarettes, July 1st.
Yeah, and hold on. I'm going to, real fast, that last caller had asked about the explosion, so I got this from Paul Goddard, Region News Source, right on top of everything when it comes to news. Around 10 p.m. last night, an explosion was heard across a good portion of North Lake County. Residents in Hammond said it shook their homes and rattled windows. By the sound was also heard by residents of Highland, Munster, and even as far away as Hobart. The explosion was found to be at Silgan Containers, 2501 165th Street in Hammond. So the previous caller, you said you lived near Kennedy. It was near 165th, so that puts it right in that location on arrival. Fire crews found a fire outside the building on a tank that neighbors said exploded. No injuries were reported as of this morning. The cause of the explosion is still not clear. So, and that can be found in the Region News subscriber group. Paul also sent me some photos and some videos. So, yeah, you can see it's outside of Silgan Container. Silgan Container used to be part of American National Can Corporation. I used to work for American National Can. So, not sure what tank that would be, but that is a tin operation over at Silgan. So, anyway, continue. The gentleman had called and asked about what had happened, so we wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, I was interested in that myself. Thank you. Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's taking a cigarette tax $20 per carton across the board, July 1st. And
look, here's the argument. The cigarette tax was supposed to be a tax that was going to cause people to quit smoking because of the cost of that cigarettes has on people's health and on the health system, and so that was the justification, right? I mean, I remember when they started to tax cigarettes, and they said, well, we're going to put taxes in place because we're going to keep people from smoking cigarettes. Okay, it sounded like a good idea, but what it really did was it opened the door for taxing everything else. So everything gets taxed. I mentioned before, there's a tax on plastic bags, and somebody texted me, it's only in Chicago and Cook County. Okay, but remember they put a tax on plastic bags because that was going to help reduce the cost of government. Well, it didn't. It just was another form of revenue, and that's the problem. They keep on putting all these taxes on everything, especially in the state of Illinois, and there doesn't seem to be a positive outcome to it. They're not lowering property taxes in the state of Illinois. They're not lowering sales taxes in the state of Illinois. They're just building more taxes. And state of Indiana is doing kind of the same thing. I mean, they're taxing the daylights out of cigarettes, but they claim, well, this is a regressive tax. It's supposed to keep people from smoking. All right.
Well, it is supposed to, but guess what? It doesn't work.
Right.
I mean, so and as long as it doesn't work, that's just an easy tax for them to do. They can keep charging the people that are addicted to something.
Yeah, where is the discussion about trying to save costs? Where's that discussion that says we're going to cut costs by doing the following? You don't hear that. And when you heard it at the federal government, people were screaming in the streets, "Oh my gosh, we can't cut the cost of government." It's like, come on, yes we can. We can cut the cost of government. We can still do the things we need to do, but we need to look to save costs as well. And again, there are local communities that have done things over the years. You know, Mayor McDermott actually was here some weeks ago, and I think he pointed out that, you know, I was a consultant that told him to get rid of the health department. Well, you know, the health department, when Hammond got rid of it, everybody said it was going to be the undoing of health in Hammond and everybody was going to die. It didn't happen. They transferred the responsibility to the county level, which is where it is in every other county except Lake County. So basically, it didn't make the change. It didn't make the horrible impact that everybody said it would, and it did save Hammond some money. So when, you know, Hammond cut out their city court, same thing. Oh, we can't cut out city court, but we did, and we've saved money. Where are the cost-cutting efforts that Illinois is putting in place to reduce the cost of government instead of just coming up with more revenue? Where are those same? Where's the Indiana Commission on Government Efficiency? Where's the Lake County Commission on Government Efficiency? Where are those commissions? Because they don't exist. That's the problem.
Tom, you were talking about Illinois too, and the video gaming tax. I believe that has to do with what that gentleman was talking earlier, the video poker machines that are in all of these establishments, gas stations, empty buildings, whatever. Anywhere you want to put a poker machine in Illinois, you're allowed to. So
yeah, but they also put you're right. Okay, they're the video gaming terminals, an increase in tax revenue, but they also have put a 1% tax increase on all streaming services in Illinois. So
yeah, I heard
that means Netflix, Sling, HBO, all of those is now paying an additional 1%.
I have one other question. Now, Indiana bragged about having this surplus of money. Do we still have that surplus of money?
It depends on who you talk to. Actually, I'm going to have a couple of state senators coming on in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully they'll be able to address that better than
we were loaded for a while. They talked. I mean, trillions or
billions,
tons of. Yeah, I mean, billions of dollars we had from when we sold the bridge and everything else. I mean, what happened to all that money? I'd like to know. Or is it still there?
Again, you know, my point is that we spend money. Okay, we say we had money in Indiana, we had a surplus, and then we spend money. All right, and when we spend that money, that means you don't have a surplus anymore, and that's the way I take it. But again, I'm going to have some state senators come on. I'm going to give Dan Dernolka a call and Lonnie Randolph and have them come on and talk about one Democrat, one Republican, and talk about what's going on in the state of Indiana in the next few weeks.
One other thing, I think everybody that lives in Hammond should take a ride down Kennedy Avenue and just check out that beautiful update they just did on Kennedy Avenue from 165th down to the bridge. It looks outstanding.
It does. It looks very, very nice. It looks
obviously
wonderful.
You still haven't been down there, Tom.
There are parts of it, but there are parts of it that do look wonderful.
Not the part that they're working now, though, sir.
No. But the part that is done. I thought you were talking about the part that is.
Oh no,
done. Yeah.
no, it's almost done. They're just not doing what they said they were doing.
Oh, the expansion. So I did talk to.
I was here. Supposedly you said it was because of the the semis and stuff, but those semis still have to turn at 165th right
No,
by
I
Freddie.
didn't say that. I didn't say anything about the semis.
Dean Button told you that. You said
no. That wasn't me. That was somebody else that you asked. What Dean Button told me was that the project was bid out in 2 sections, and so the concern that the north part doesn't look like the south part. Dean's point was that they were planned differently, and they're also different pots of money. That's what I said.
That's not what the mayor said on the air here on WJOB.
Yeah, I think when you called that day and he was on as my guest, and he said, "Yeah, it's all going to be the same." He okay, he made a mistake. People do make mistakes.
But they didn't even do the project, is what I'm saying. They cut chunks of cement out and repatched it. Please take a ride down there. You can go that way.
I'll tell you what. I will actually go there.
Go that
today.
way on your way home and take
a look. I'll go take a look. I thought you were talking about the area that's done. That south is very nice. So
no, that looks outstanding.
Yeah.
And the whole thing would look good if they would have done the whole block like
All
that.
right, I'll take a look at it.
Please do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. 845-1100 is the number to call. Joe, do we have another caller? We have more callers. So good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Mr. Tom, good morning. I'd like to request a song today.
Okay, what song is that?
Okay, Time and Place by Queens of the Stone Age. Play the whole goddamn song, not just 2 seconds, okay?
All right. Well, that was a good invitation. But look, he calls and hey, he's a nice guy. He calls and he makes requests. We're not going to play. The problem is that this is not a.
Who was the artist?
A call. Do you have the name of the artist again?
I'll go find him.
All right. Do we have another caller, Joe?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You know what? Pretty soon I'm going to leave this area, and where I go, I ain't got to worry about stupid, dumb, ignorant taxes anymore.
Are you going to live on an island?
No, I'm going to heaven.
Oh, well, okay. Well, let's hope there's no taxes there. I mean, Mike, you and I, again, have been around for a long time, and can you imagine all these additional taxes now in the state of Illinois? I mean,
I hear. It's the wonder. Every time you flush a toilet, you don't have to pay a tax.
Well, you do in a way because you actually do pay a tax. You pay.
Oh yeah.
Flushing your toilet is not free. I mean, when I was town manager of Cedar Lake, we put a sewer user fee in, and a guy came into town hall and basically said that he wanted to shoot my head off. And I said, well, go ahead and take aim. I'm a big guy. And he looked at me and he said, you violate my constitutional right to freedom of happiness. I said, that's not constitutional right. And he said, well, as far as I'm concerned, it is. And now that you've got this sewer user fee, I'm not happy when I sit on the toilet and have to flush. And after he left, I turned around and realized that 3 of the police officers from Cedar Lake Police Department are all crouched behind desks, and they said to me, don't ever tell that gentleman to go ahead and take his best shot. He just got out of prison for shooting the mailman. So I learned then you don't challenge people, but go ahead.
Another thing about the South Shore trains, all that time they spent building 2-line tracks and all the extensions. One of my friends takes the train to Chicago, and all the time it was, while that construction going, it was getting chaotic. Well, he'd been keeping a record. Now they supposedly got the 2 tracks all done. It's supposed to be good going and all this. He's had so many times that he's delayed because something's wrong with the power on it and this and that. He calculated now he's back to driving his car back to Chicago because that South Shore train is making him get late to work, costing him more money now. So he decided his boss is giving him a little extra money for gas to come to Chicago to work because simple reason that South Shore raised their rates, but their service sucks. And his boss said, I'll give you the money, you drive to Chicago. Forget that South Shore.
Mike, that's the problem. Okay? So there's less demand for the train. They've made all these improvements, but the service is worse than ever. I mean, all you have to do is talk to anybody like your friend who takes it to Chicago, and they say it's worse than ever. Look, the idea of the two-track system so that you didn't have tracks running on the same trains running on the same track, the safety factor, all those arguments, okay, they went ahead and spent this money, but now fewer people are taking the train because, in large part, because it's more inefficient than it was before they fixed it.
He said his boss, a couple times the train had to stop, sit there for some problem, and then he's late for work. So his boss told him to keep a record how much it costs for your gas to drive up a whole week. So every time on his check, he gives him that allowance guy. He says, "Fooey on that train."
Well, look, part of it is as technology, as we become more technology dependent. I mean, take a look. You and I used to be able to work on our own cars back when we were in high school and younger days. I mean, there's no chance at all you're working on your car these days. I mean,
I used to know where I could see my fuel pump, my water pump. I could see my alternator. I could see my battery.
You can't even find them.
Cars. One time, I opened a car. Somebody showed me. Well, there's a guy that's got one brand new car coming to school. He opened up the hood, and I says, "Where's the motor?"
I mean, let's face it. You can't work on a vehicle. Vehicles have become more complicated. However, vehicles are far more dependent than they used to be. They don't break down as much.
Oh, yes.
But the train, on the other hand, the South Shore, is breaking down more, even though we spent a lot of money to make improvements so it wouldn't break down. But something happened. So
hey, I'm glad your pool. I'm going to let you go in a second. I'm glad your pool's warming up. But we had our lot asphalt paved 2 weeks before Memorial Day.
Yes, you.
Monday, Monday, that hot day we had, it was the temperature at about noon was 147. The asphalt.
Oof.
Yesterday, it wasn't. They said supposedly yesterday it was not as hot as the day before. I come home. I told my wife. I says, I need to get a job as a weatherman or something because I love it. People can lie and get paid.
Well,
but the thing is yesterday the temperature on our thing was a little up. I mean, it was like 121.
It had cooled down. It cooled down yesterday compared to the other 2 days. It had dropped largely because of those thunderstorms. I mean, I could feel it right after one of the storms came through. It dropped down to about 85 degrees, and then I walked back outside thinking it was cooler, and it was back up to 91. So, it fluctuated yesterday.
Your dogs, when they go in the pool, do they do the doggy style paddle?
So Duke really, this is the second year that Duke's been in the pool. He didn't want to go in before. We bought him actually a life vest, and it gives him a little more confidence. But if Duke wants to, Duke has those great big paws. He can swim. Luna just is not comfortable in the pool. Hey, thanks so much for calling.
All right, everybody have a nice day now.
All right, you as well.
Bye.
We have some callers, but we need to take a quick break. So if you're on hold, stay there. We'll be right back. It's the Morning Call with Tom Dabertin on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, the TuneIn app, and JED TV.